I'm folding my laundry. It's going to be my final weekend in New York for my first summer in New York. This is the first time I'm really living in the city. I've been here twice as a tourist. This is my first real taste of the city as a resident. Yeah. So, I'm in a student dorm. The filming on this is gonna be super basic. What is happening? Yeah. This is a very basic tripod. I'm doing I probably have 3 more rounds of laundry before I go back to LA. And I don't know why. Rationally, I decided to do this, but my gut knows. So I'm here, folding some laundry. I'm recovering from COVID, the New York strain, 2025 version of COVID. The air conditioner in this room is so loud. It's so loud, but it's also automatic, which is whatever. It is what it is, you know? Recall the city, know every street and shore, sail down the river that brings us life, whenever I am feeling low. I look around me and I know there's a place that will stay within me, no matter where I choose to go. I will always recall the city, know every street and shore, sail wandering through my Singapore. What day is it? July the 30th. I'm leaving this city for LA on August the 9th. Singapore is a trading port. That's why even some of the best restaurants that have food reminiscent of my hometown are from neighboring states. They're not truly Singaporean. And in this city, the one hawker center I can find is literally New York priced. I've been there once. Food is good. But I know I'm helping to pay for the rent. I'm helping to pay for the cost of it existing in this city in the price of the food. Know every street and shore, sail down the river that brings us life, wandering through my Singapore. Whenever I am feeling low, I look around me and I know there's a place that will stay within me. No matter where I choose to go. I will always recall the city, know every street and shore, sail down the river that brings us life, wandering through my Singapore. This is home, truly, where I know I must be. Say the words. Where my dreams wait for me, where the river always flows. This is home, surely, as my senses tell me, this is where I won't be alone. For this is where I know I'm home. When there are troubles to go through, we'll find a way to start anew. There is comfort in the knowledge this place is about its people too. So we put our dreams together, just like we've done before, just like the river which brings us life. I don't remember the words, but I know it's Singapore. This is home. Truly, where I know I must be, where my dreams wait for me, where the river always flows. This is home. Surely, as my senses tell me, this is where I won't be alone. For this is where I know I'm home. Yeah, that song has been haunting me for a few months. A month, realistically. I've been away from Singapore for so long. When I was living in England, I could go back summer and Christmas. At least. That's when I did go back. I've been here. How long have I been here? 2 years and a month. I've only been back once. It's insane. It's not logical, but it also is. My feelings are so unexplainable that it feels insane. But I know rationally why I'm feeling this way. Now that I'm talking about it, now that I'm actually speaking the circumstances, I'm like, oh yeah, no wonder she's homesick. No wonder. That song has always resonated with me since I was a kid. We have National Day songs in Singapore. I know people are really skeptical about patriotism in an international age. But there is something about a community in a location bonding that is very human. And in Singapore, songs are just how we do it. Honestly. National Day songs are huge. And I don't consider myself a professional singer artiste. I think at best I'm maybe a musical theater artist. I'm a musical film actor for sure. I know that if I were to do musicals, I would shine more on screen in a musical film. Than necessarily, I think the stage would be like craft. It would be sharpening the sword for me. Yeah. But I don't know how I know that, you know? My gut knows it. The rational mind, in hindsight, and when I'm 60, will tell me why I feel this way. But all this to say, when I listen to that song, I'm not, like Stephanie Sun's version when I was a kid, Taufik Batisa. I'm giving you my generation now. Those people hearing their versions of it for the first time when it came out, it just, here, I felt it. And now I'm like in the US. I don't know why this song, it haunts me. And a singular image that haunts us and becomes art. And I just think about the river. That is my favorite place in Singapore, the river. I've had life-changing moments at that river. Yeah. My Phoenix rebirth moment. Fine, I'll talk about it. Where do I begin to tell the story? Where do I begin? Oh my god. I will begin here. If my mother had not called me that night, my body and my brain were in two different worlds. Gosh. And it was the first time in my life that my body was louder than my brain. It was the first time I'd ever not been able to control my tears in public. Before that moment, whenever I had felt the need to cry, I was able to go to a restroom, to go to my bedroom, to close the door, find a cave. But that day was the first day the tears came before the cave. Why is that important? It's not just a Chinese thing. It really isn't. It's a very human thing. I think as humans, we do so much work to find a way to coexist in shared spaces. Not just to bring value to it, but to get value from it as well. And have that transaction of, okay, I'm giving, let me get something, right? And as humans, we grow up into all of these different ways and all of our different cultures and different societies of like, okay, this is the transaction. In this society, if you would like some sort of material support, this is the emotional condition. It doesn't matter if it's learned at home or whether your parents learned that from society, the chicken and egg. It really, at this point in time, it's like, okay, I know they learned it from somewhere, and I know I learned it from them. Okay, I've been through that. Now how do I deal with it? Tell me how to fix it, you know? This is the point where the cause only matters as much as how much the effect can be treated. Yeah. It's the yeah. And in this particular moment, I know, I just know at this point in my life, in retrospect, I'm laughing because it's just so human. I'm laughing at myself at this point. My naivety, my ignorance, and my social stupidity, even, you know, my lack of emotional development in terms of being in tune with my body as a human, right? That, oh, now I get it. I'm like, oh, I understand what she's going through. And yeah, that was the first time in my life that my body was so heavy. It was sinking. It was really just the weight of the world. I was in the depths of the ocean, and the anchor was just pulling my soul down to the bottom of it. And I just know, if my mother hadn't called me that night, the anchor would have pulled me into the river without my brain consenting to it. It haunts me. My brain is still choosing life. My heart chooses life. And the body was like done with humanity. It was like, I've seen the shit of the world, and you cannot expect me to collect all of the shit for at a loss, at a sacrifice, at the expense of myself. That was what my body was saying. My heart and my brain were like, why? I want to live. I'm here for a reason. Yeah. After that night, yeah, I mean, I did what people recommend. I as I had done before. That's the wild part. And this is why I think the universe wants me to talk about it. Because as human beings, when we talk about these topics, we're like, I think that a therapist is the right person with the answer for this problem. Because I don't want to misdiagnose you. I don't know. Right? Like, we just don't know how to help. But we think, we kind of like say, oh, a therapist is qualified. Here's the thing, even therapists go to therapy. And I see them as personal trainers for emotions. It's kind of like, you know, you go to the gym, you do your reps, fitness and health. If you don't go to a gym, you go to dance class, you go to Qigong, you do some form of movement, right? With a guide. And at some point, yes, you do go off and do it yourself. If you do feel like, oh, I want to express, I have a style, I've learned enough, I'm just gonna do the reps, right? Emotions are kind of like that. And at this point in time, I'd been in therapy for years now. And I knew, like, yeah, and this is what dysthymia is. Low-grade chronic depression. It doesn't matter how high functioning you are. But at that point in time, my body ceased to function. Even if my heart was like, I have joy in life. I know when I have a good hot pot, I love it. I'm like, I'm engaging my senses. Food makes me happy. But it was a more existential weight that I was carrying. Yeah, I mean, eventually I did find out I had dysthymia. I mean, I went to see a psychiatrist who gave me a course of medication, but said, actually, overall, you are very healthy. You're very aware. And the therapy that I did along with it, I did art therapy. And they were all like, you're very aware of your emotions. And this comes into dysthymia. This comes into that low-grade chronic depression. Because as people who are so good at making checklists and ticking them off, even the management of this numbing out can become like a video game where I'm completing all of the tasks to unlock the gems, you know? It's sneaky. It's sneaky. And the solution is not more checklists. Yeah. The solution is not in the brain. It's in the body. That's all I'm going to talk about it for now. Because once with that little nugget, the fact that the solution is in the body, it's like every single human body is so uniquely different. What works for me may not work for the next person with dysthymia. Yeah, it's like hiking an unmarked trail that's untouched. A little bit, you know. You're not gonna, well, yeah, you're not gonna die from a grizzly bear. Well, you're more likely to die from dehydration or hypothermia. You know, It's like, oh yeah, I need to know when my body is dehydrated. I need to know when I'm freezing or I'm too hot, and regulate the body myself. It is that. Yeah. Because today, like, we're dealing with very meaty, rich, and simple, clarified art in my intensive program in Chekhov, right? If you know, you know. And committing to the work requires so much emotional availability, even if the words are not there. And I realized this because on the surface, yes, the major visual life for example, two characters lose a baby, right? And they are having an affair. It's a spoiler, so I'm not gonna say names for people who don't know these plays, right? I'm just gonna say what actually happens, right? But in the plays, the moments he chooses to put on stage are not the moment where she has the miscarriage, or the moment where they discover that this potential life they could have had died. Literally, the moments he chooses to stage are the moments where they realize it in their hearts, in their minds. The gut feeling was there. It's the moments where they come to each other and they're like processing the fact that the baby, the life they could have had together if they had left their partners and the baby survived, that is the moment that he puts on stage. It's emotional events that are happening. So on the surface, it's like watching the reflection of a mountain from a lake. The lake, to the human eye, is so still, right? But the water is alive, it's moving, the particles are there, the molecules are vibrating. And in that stillness, the mountain is fully reflected when it seems perfectly still. Beneath all of that is the ecosystem. There is life, there's so much life. There's fishes, there's plants, there's algae, there's everything is happening in that lake. Even if on the surface, we only see the mountains. That is the kind of writing that I'm dealing with in Chekhov, in my intensive program. That is the work I'm doing. So it's not today is the day that the baby died, and today is the day that I realized that this affair goes nowhere. Life has told me that we tried to co-create. We tried to make a new family, and life literally told me, no, I'm not giving you that child. And then on stage, the event is the giving up hope or the renewal of it and the attempt. It's like one of them is like, no, let's try it again. The other one is like, no, I'm done. And it's not even like necessarily that they are doing it with the actual person, right? So I'm thinking very specifically of like the moment where the woman, in this case, processes the fact that she tried to make a family with the man, right? That man that she was in love with. And it didn't happen. And she's processing it with a man who's in love with her, but who she sees as a brother. Like, so she's having a whole emotional event where she realizes my life with that man is a dead end. And he's having the realization that my life with you, my love for you, will never go anywhere. Ever. It's a dead end. And what we see that is what we're seeing on stage. The words are so truthful because that is how a human being might actually discover that. Like in real life, it's not the picture perfect like moment with my ex where I'm like, all of whatever, all the things that we want to say in our head, that's not what's happening. In real life, it's like, I had the breakup. The night before I had the breakup, I had a weird feeling, right? And he captures the weird feeling. He does it in The Three Sisters with Irina. When she says, I knew it. It's a weird feeling. But how did she know? Right? And in this particular play that I'm talking about, that has nothing to do with my actual life. I've never done anything like, I don't know. I've not had that life, but I've had moments in life where I see what they are talking about. Like these human beings who decided to try to have a child, even though they could not legally give that child the system and the structure of a legal marriage, right? They tried to build a legacy together. I know that feeling, right? I know that feeling. I'm like, but those moments, it's like in actual human life, it's like, it's not the miscarriage where we realize like, oh, this love is not gonna go anywhere. It's literally in a conversation 4 months later, and we don't know why we're having this conversation with a particular person who means something to us, but we have it, and then we're like, shit, yep, I should have known. That is the moment that he's putting in his plays. Those are the moments. It's the in-between moments where the water is still on the surface, and yet, like some pregnant fish just gave birth, and the ecosystem underneath it just got so much richer. And at first you think you're looking at the mountain, but then if you were to make a documentary series about the lake, you would discover, oh shit, there was so much life there. But all we see is the perfection of the reflection to the naked eye. There's something that Shakespeare talks about. I mean, this is my favorite. This is the reason why I love Shakespeare. It's the reason, it's my purpose as an actor, to hold the mirror as 'twere up to nature. And notice how he says nature, not just hold the mirror up to man. No, the nature of not just of humanity, but just nature. To hold the mirror as it is, up to how things naturally are. And that is the purpose of playing. That is not just acting. Art, play. Yeah. Because it's, everyone can tell you what life is not, but only you know what life is for you, and what life means to you. All right. Welcome to my life. This is my process as an actor. You know, this is the behind the scenes that I wish actors would actually talk about. Things I wish I knew about acting and living. Because these days in 2025, I no longer see acting as when I define the word acting, it is a verb for me. It's not a noun. I'm not acting. I'm acting through it. I'm acting on it. I'm acting with it. Right? I'm acting with the impulse. I'm acting through the line. I'm acting on the instinct. I'm taking an active choice. I'm taking an action. That is my definition. It's how I define acting in 2025. So nobody can tell you what acting really is in the gut. It's like asking me to define the verb active, action. I mean, it's like choosing, intentional. All of these words are still synonyms, but they also, it's like the other day, I looked up the definition for being. and it led me to the existing, to exist. And I looked up to exist, to be. And yet the quality, the texture of these two words are entirely different. Entirely different. Because to exist is actually feels to me scientific. Whereas to be feels more simple, human. I mean, there's a reason why Hamlet literally sits there thinking. It's not to exist or not to exist. It's to be or not to be, right? Existence doesn't have the same active quality that being does. And at the same time, being is like being that lake. It is like, you know, the lake to the human eye reflects the mountain. The lake doesn't sit there thinking, I'm gonna reflect the mountain today. No, the lake is just being. And as a human, I'm so lucky to have captured that one moment where the lake has a pure reflection of the mountain. But in every other moment, life is moving and happening, and it's just being. It's just there. It's existing. If I were to say it's existing, it's like, yeah, there is the thing exists in this universe, in the world. There is Lake Tahoe. That's it. This thing exists without the name Tahoe, right? But we as humans are the ones who give it that name. The thing existed before or after. But the beingness of this thing that exists brings a quality of life to it. And that is a nuance within which actors live. It is a subtle difference between I woke up this morning and I went to work, and I woke up this morning and I chose to work. I chose to get out of bed. I chose to open my eyes. And receive the room around me. The first one, yeah, is it's almost like I'm waiting for the event to happen. I'm like, okay, good, you woke up. Okay, good. Thanks for joining us on Earth. thanks for choosing to participate in this economy. Thanks for choosing to participate with the rest of us. Okay. And the second one, it's almost like appreciating the day that is about to come. It's almost like you already had the event. The moment happened. Emotionally, there is an active embracing of life. Because those are the moments you want to put on stage. And that's why Chekhov can be so difficult. And I realized why I decided to do this intensive. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so glad I did it. Yeah. Because so much of drama it's about change. It's about conflict. Whether it gets resolved or unresolved, that is part of change. You also have progress, right? These are all textures of change. Just a natural process in life. Yeah. Wow. This week we finished our first round of scenes. Yeah, 4 weeks into the program. Finished. What did we do? We did Uncle Vanya and the Three Sisters. And now we are doing the cherry orchard and the seagull. Whew. That is my kind of humor. I realized my sense of humor is very Chekhovian. I do not laugh at a lot of things that people find funny for some reason, like slapstick stuff. But I laugh at like the realizations. I'm like, oh, I should have known that. Or, oh lol, the universe is playing a joke on me. It must be. You know? It must be a joke. Or the contrast and the juxtaposition. Like, I thought it was a nervous laugh, but no, actually no, I'm laughing because I think it's a cosmic joke. You know, like there are moments in life where I'm doing something and my brain just finds it, the contrast circumstantially between what I'm doing and what my circumstances are telling me. So overwhelmed with emotion that I laugh. Yeah. I can't find the words for it. I don't know the words for it. I don't know. What sense of humor is that? What kind of humor is that? I don't know. I thought it was sardonic, you know? I thought it was cynicism or like skepticism or sarcasm, but it's irony. Yeah, it's irony. And it's why, yeah, I'm gonna talk about it. It's kind of why I look at the one film that is commercially associated with my country. And I'm like, I read the books. This is a satire. Why are you making it an American rom-com? And if you want to do it as an American rom-com, why are you not doing it like Gossip Girl? Why are you not doing it like Friends? Or How I Met Your Mother? Like, those are, like, today, yeah, I was in a shared space in the communal kitchen lounge area, and these two boys, young men, young, like me, guys my age, or younger maybe, they were watching the scene where Barney confronts his father, being like, why were you not able to be a father to me when I was a kid? And now you have another child and you're doing all these daddy, parent, fatherly things with them, and you didn't do any of that with me when I was a kid, right? It's such a deep moment. But instead of doing it like that, it's comedy. It's so funny. They were watching that scene. I know the scene. I remember that scene. I was like, that was one of the best scenes in that sitcom. You know, I was like, that is very Chekhovian in a way. Well, in the way that Neil Patrick Harris approached it in that scene. And I think that's why I had so much respect for him as an actor watching that series. I was like, you're taking these very extreme circumstances and playing them so authentically, and the humor is there without you even trying. I was like, that was missing from the film that is associated with Singapore. I guess I should name it. Yeah. So I read Crazy Rich Asians. I read China Rich Girlfriend. that was my favorite book in the series. And I saw it as a satire. Today I learned in a guest lecture that Stanislavski and Chekhov. So Stanislavski, considered the father of all acting in this era, modern acting, father of Strasberg, Lee Strasberg, Stella Adler, all of these truthful or people who are approaching a sense of truth in acting through the method and the systems and stuff. So I had heard that he had this conflict with Chekhov. So the reason why he was so successful was for the staging of Chekhov's works. Like, Chekhov's writing allowed him to develop and innovate an entirely new way of doing theater as a director, as an actor, as a theater practitioner. And it started with the writing. And I found out today that the reason, like, other people had vaguely told me, oh, it's like a conflict, like Stanislavski saw it as a tragedy, and Chekhov saw his work as a comedy. And today I found out that the moment this all started was with the Cherry Orchard, where Chekhov wanted Stanislavski, right, the greatest actor, director of his generation in his country. He wanted the guy to be the main character in the Cherry Orchard. He's like, no, I want you to be Lopakin. I want you to play the man who was a descendant of serfs, of slaves who were bonded to the land. They were a package deal with the land, and they were freed, and then now you buy the land that you were related to, and people in your town were related to. You're rich enough to do it, and you bring a new era to it. He's like, I want you to be that guy. And Stanislavski cast himself as the wealthy landowner or one of the wealthy landowners. From what, I don't know if I got the fact entirely correct, but that is what I remembered from today's class. I hope I got it right. Anyway, and then I realized, I was like, no, that is human. No wonder he saw it as a tragedy. And no wonder Chekhov saw it as a comedy. Because I thought about it. I was like, materially, on the surface, realistically, it's a change in ownership. The guy, the main character, kind of, yeah, one of the main characters, he buys this land that belonged to the woman he loved. And all he has to do is cut down the cherry trees that were grown with the blood and the sweat and the tears of all of the slaves who were like his ancestors. And the place still exists. And he literally, at the last, one of his final lines is like, okay, something like, until next summer or spring or something. Until next spring or summer. Until next year. Basically, he's saying, I'll see all of you next year. He's saying you can all come back next year and this place will still be here. And the tragedy for the wealthy people was like, no, now you're telling me that these people that I was grown to know as nothing more than laborers are attached to this land, are the ones owning this land, everything changes. It's not going to be the same anymore. And that is tragic for them, because now they're like, what does this mean about me? Where am I going to find wealth? This is how my family made money. This is what the world was to us materially. And the comedy is literally, the sun is still setting. The sun is still rising. The plot of land is not going anywhere. Literally, a little boy that you looked after as a child now owns it. That's it. That's all that has happened. And the only difference is the fact that his father, his family were from the lowest of the lowest classes. But you cared for this little boy. And now he's wealthy enough to own it. Like, bro, isn't that a good thing? Or sister, like, hello, my friends. Huh? And there is the comedy. That is the comedy of it all. Yeah, I'm gonna explain the joke. In the words I have. Because it's so relevant. The comedy is in the fact that these human beings are making so much meaning over something that fundamentally still exists. The whole thing, it all exists. It's just that the meaning of it has changed dramatically. The texture, the quality, the ownership of this plot of land changed. And that is literally the only real huge dramatic thing that the play is about. And like, from the surface, and yet all 4 acts have so much life and drama and change and conflict in them, because it's about the moments in which each of these individuals, these human beings, have the moment of realization where they're like, oh no, it's different, something changed. Today is the day that I realized that this man is not who I thought he was, right? Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, in finishing The Three Sisters, I realized something. It's not that one of the biggest lies I feel that I have been fed is that rich people have it easier. And they are exploiting us, and they're living in sin, making money out of greed or whatever, you know. It's dehumanizing. But wealth is all around us. You don't look at the trees judging each, I don't know, maybe do trees talk to each other in their own language? That I will never know in this human form. I'm not a tree. I mean, I'm not an ent in Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, right? The trees in the Lord of the Rings talk to each other. They had a whole committee. They have a revolution in the Two Towers. They stage a revolution. The trees stage a revolution in the Two Towers. But in real life, the trees don't sit around judging each other for having more leaves necessarily. Like, I don't know. That is me prescribing a very human thing onto them, a human phenomenon onto the trees, right? The trees just have leaves or they don't have leaves. They respond to the weather, and they are as they are. And something I realized on finishing a whole set of scenes in class from the Three Sisters and diving into the work of the Three Sisters, that play is really about the hard facts of what it means to be alive. The reality of social mobility, upwards and downwards. Honestly, a lot of it is about downward mobility, moving down a class. Literally, we're looking at a family that used to live in the city, super wealthy. Now they're living in the country. It's north somewhere. It's cold. It's cold up there. Winters are so long in this region, this little town that they're in, and they have to downsize. And this family, the reason why I think it's called the Three Sisters is because Andre is watching his sisters process the reality of having had access to all of the options that a big city provides, that they are now stripped of. And I noticed this coming to New York and realizing, wow, in this city, you have access to so many options, and yet everything has a ripple. All of the major events in this world will have a ripple effect in some way on this city, on the people in this city, because they come from everywhere. And they bring the wealth of knowledge, of culture, of human meaning, of life with them. The inventions. There's so much exchange of information happening. Yeah. And to go from a city that allows you that to living in a small town, a little village, where you're just forced to look at life for what it is, really. It can be so depressing. It can be like horrifying to some people. But when you look at his own wife, like you look at Natasha, she's going up. She's going up and up. She's like, she starts to play off being of a lower class than the sisters. And then she ends the play as the woman of the house. It's so easy to make her the villain of that story from the sister's perspective. But she's not the only one in the play who has an affair. She's not the only one in the play who does things that are morally ambiguous. She has different reasons for doing it. She's literally securing her husband a social status in the city, in the town that they're in the village that they're in. She's the one who's putting all the things together, and her husband literally just has to show up. He gets promoted at work and he's in a position of power in the village through her orchestration, her machinations, her like designs. It's different. And it's so human. Because, yeah, she's a villain to some and she's a hero to others. And she's both. So are the sisters, honestly. Like, for my personally, I'm just gonna be really honest. I came into this play, I'm like, these girls are so privileged. They have a military pension. What is she so depressed about? She doesn't have to work. Why does she want to work? I'm sitting there watching Irina's spiel in Act 1 and 2, where they're talking about how they grew up in families where they never knew what it meant to work and they didn't have to go to work. I'm like, yeah, you still don't, girl. You literally don't have to work. You don't need to work. Why the F would you put yourself through that? And then she puts herself through it. And then by Act 3, she's like, no, I hate working. It's not the answer to my problems. And I'm like, okay, I see you now. I see you. I'm like, oh, shit. You're going through something. You're really going through something. And so funny because I read the play. I was like, this is the worst character. This is the first time I'm saying it out loud, but I'm gonna say it. I read the play. I was like, what the F is she on about? Like, who in their right mind? I think maybe from my state of mind, I was like, I've been working a lot. I'm a workaholic, and I don't want to be a workaholic. But I don't understand you. I'm sitting there like, why would you wake up and think your solution to your problems is to go to work? Why would you want to be a cog in the machine? And this is a 2025 interpretation of something that happened, that was set, something that was meant to be inspired by events in 1860s, 1870s, 1880s, right? Where they're discovering, like, industrialization was starting, you know. All of this discoveries about science were happening. I'm like, okay. In that context, yeah, being able to provide something of value to other human beings, like, now I realize, I'm like, oh, you want to be able to provide value to others in your community. I get it now, right? But then I got cast as Irina for my scene in this intensive. And yeah, we did the moment in Act 4 between Irina and Tusenbach. Everything and nothing and everything is happening in that scene. So much happened because it's the final moment they will ever have with each other. And those are the words that they choose to say to each other. And it feels like a transcript of life. Like, you know, nobody picks up the phone, like, thinking, except in some plays or films where they're like, I love you. I want you to live without regrets. And then the guy dies. No, not necessarily. It doesn't always, it's very rare that does that actually happen in life. What actually happened in this scene is, like, she has zero clue what's gonna happen. The guy's like, I'm taking a gamble on my life. I love you so much, I'm gonna take a gamble on my life to prove that I'm the most worthy of your love. And she's like, I love you as a human being, but not as a lover. And today is the day she tells him that. For real, for real. She's like, I want you to be safe. I want to live with you. I want to be with you. But I can't give you whatever you're looking for in me. I just can't. And and that is their last moment. That is the drama of it all. It's like, wow, he really chose to go there. He chose to go there. Yeah. In that scene. And in the way we approached it in the intensive that I did, we discovered so much. Process, so much craft. It really was about embracing the art of it, the craft of it, over necessarily any fixed idea of what it should be. It was like, we're gonna discover the organic truth as actors, as artists. How do we work with our hearts and our minds to empathize and live as closely to the lives of these inspired people, blueprints of people, as we can. Yeah. And she's supposed to cry in this scene, and I was like, why is she crying? I was like, why? Bro, what is happening? I was like, why? And it came from me, the tears. The emotions were so available for me as a result of our process as a team together, you know. Even if it wasn't necessarily in the exact moment that Chekhov saw it, it was like the first time my partner and I put it up in front of the class, my eyes were like watering, and I was like, I know why she cries now. I read this page and I was like, why the F is she crying? And now that I'm sitting here doing this exercise with my partner, I'm like, nah, I know why she cries. I know. It's here, and like, it's coming soon. The words are coming, but it's happening in the body. I was like, no, I know why she's crying. And it's coming. I don't know when it's gonna come, but it's already here. It's already here. I was like, oh my goodness. And then putting the text back into it in another exercise, I was like, oh, yeah, it's all. And we did that today. Because with Chekhov, and the types of people who sign up for this intensive are people like me who know what word perfect means. Like, we know, like, we want to be off book as soon, like, before 10 steps before getting into class. Like, we are those people. We are the kinds of people who are like, no, I'm gonna be completely off book, go in there, I'm gonna do a thing. And then we go in there, we're like, the words are escaping me, because, well, for me I'm like, oh, I have to ground myself. I'm disassociating. My body, my soul, my consciousness is leaving this body, even though my physical being is here. I'm having a deeply emotional response, and I don't know why. I cannot give words to it, and I feel like I'm gonna blank out right now. But I'm here. I'm here. Yeah, like, I had COVID. I caught COVID. To recover from COVID, I was having chi stagnation on my period, which in traditional Chinese medicine is like the chi in your body was so stuck that you literally can't, the energy is not moving. The fatigue is so bad. That even if you're not having like intense pain, it's just numbed out. Your body's like, done, I'm clocking out for the day, you know. And yeah, I'm actually 70% done folding my laundry, processing all these things that's happening for me on an emotional level. And I had these things show up for me in preventing me from going to class. And then I go to class and I'm like, no, now I know why. My body was not ready. My body needed time to prepare itself, because yeah, like, I go to class, he's like, paraphrase, let's do a paraphrasing exercise. Like, no, my brain already knows all of the words. My brain is, I had to like force myself to imagine subtext and say it and paraphrase, because my brain was like, no, these are the words, Diana, these are the words, say the words. And I'm like, I will do both. I was like, okay, I'll do both. I was freaking out emotionally. And as an artist, I felt so much freer, and I found the truth in it. I was like, oh, This is the first time in a scene with set text that I authentically, genuinely, naturally cried. Before this moment, on stage, organic, natural tears were happened only thrice for me on stage. One was in a monologue exercise, so there was no scene partner. Another one was in a character I created, entirely improvised. Also a solo piece. And the first time it happened was an improvised Adler technique exercise with a scene partner in LA. And I broke down in tears on stage. He broke down after it. Like, we both had a huge emotional moment that was so organic, where we both had so much compassion for these characters that we both created and brought to the exercise that we just couldn't take it, like so overwhelmed with emotion that we had to cry to express it. I mean, that's how people cry in real life, right? Yeah, that's how people cry in real life. You're so overwhelmed with emotion that you have to express it. And I mean, is that a scientific fact, like that crying and laughing comes from the same place in the body? I don't know. I can't remember. I genuinely cannot remember. It's just the texture and the quality and the triggers. I don't know. The causes of those expressions are different. Okay, I'm 90% there. Oh my gosh. I had a plan for tomorrow morning. I don't know if I feel like I'm gonna do it, but who knows? Will I? I don't know. I may or may not make another video journal on whether or not I did it. But I do know that in developing the craft and the process as an actor, in this particular method of acting, has freed up so much of my headspace and my life to just surrender to the process of it It's like I have the structure, I have the container. I'm just going to allow my energy to flow through it and trust that the container exists for me to be. And with that, I am actually done with folding my laundry. So I'm going to go sleep and fall into my plan, which isn't it's a blueprint. It's an intention. It's not a rule.